Okay, we'd like to welcome everybody that's come in today, and those of you who are joining us online. Please send in a text if you're not hearing the sound properly, because we can't test it on that side. But if you're hearing us, great, and we're going to go ahead and get started. Okay, so this is a big day for all of us, especially for us on this end here, because we've been trying to get this updated version of the software to all of you as quickly as we possibly could. And what you're going to see today is going to revolutionize the way you use your AO scanner. And this is going to be the first time we've been able to give you a software that we've promised you on time. You're going to love what you see today. We're getting almost there to go live, but I'd like to just, welcome you for coming. We've got Eddie Ubador from all the way from Aruba that's here with us today, Oklahoma, Wisconsin, and even Provo, Utah. So we've got everybody here today. In just a minute, I want to introduce you to the Wizard of Oz, the guy behind the curtain. And that's this gentleman right here with the blue shirt. Amber, can you just take a quick stand real quick? This is the guy that has done... Amber's been with us since 1989. Every one and every zero in the software of this code has been written by this man. And he's as passionate about this system as any of us in this room. So one thing he asked me to convey to you, and that I would second, is those of you who have been working with this program in its various renditions over the last year, the feedback you've been giving us is invaluable, and we really, really appreciate that as that comes in. I have one other individual I want to introduce to you today, and that's Deborah Bruce. Deborah, would you stand? Deborah's had a major influence on what you're going to see in the software when it comes to the databases and the reporting system. And she's also going to be doing some of the ongoing advanced training, connecting the dots, over the next few months. And so she's going to come up and talk to us in a little bit about where she's planning to take this education. Okay, are we all ready, Ellen? All right, so without further ado, let's get started with the new AO Scan version 2.0. As you, can we turn off these lights right here? This first section? Thanks. Okay, that's a little easier to see. I think we can go ahead and turn them all off, Don, I think, unless that's going to affect. Okay. All right, so when you open up your program, can you exit for a second and let's just show them the icon. The icon is right up here at the top. That's your new icon. It's not the gold one anymore. It's this new icon. So when you double click on that, this is your new landing page. This is where everything begins. So over on the right, you've got your select client. Now you've heard us in the past, and I'm going to repeat it again. This page is the most critical, most important page in this program. You screw this up, every single report that you do on an individual from there on out is going to be flawed. We've given you the examples of how to do it. Last name, comma, space. First name, comma, space. And then if there is an initial, doesn't have to be, but if there is, comma, space, initial. The first letter of every word should be capitalized. Okay, so gender, we just need the M or F, and we want it capitalized. Capital M or capital F. Birth date, 2-digit month, 2-digit date, and 2-digit or 4-digit year. Now I know in Europe and some of the other countries they reverse that. This is the way we need it. Month, day, year separated with your slashes. Okay? Email. How many of you have been, and just by raise of hand, how many of you had people say, I don't have an email, or I don't want to give you my email? Okay, we get those. The email is really important in this new system because it allows you to send these reports to those people instantly. Without the email, the only way you can get the reports to them is to print them. And if you print all of these pages, you're looking at close to 45 pages. And every single page is color. And if you take the color out and you just print black and white, it really distracts from the report. You need to let the people know that your email isn't going to be shared with anybody. It doesn't go anywhere other than right in this program. And if they absolutely insist on not giving you an email, then you must write in, just like it says, noemail@gmail.com. And we've got it all right here. So if you'll just pay attention to what's on the side, that's how we want you to do it. Phone number, all the digits, no dashes, no hyphens. Birthplace, city, comma, space, state, if it's in the U.S. City, comma, space, country, if it's out of the country. Okay? Capitalize the first of every word. Okay? Height, if it's in inches and feet, you're going to type in, what in this case, 5, space, spell out feet. You don't capitalize feet. Space, the inches, space, and then spell out inches. Pounds. Now it says LB, not LBS. We only want LB. Okay? So if you put in LBS, it messes up that field. If it's in kgs, just like it shows, 190 space kg. Hair color. Now this is one that comes up a lot. Well, brown, blonde, what year, I'm bald, whatever. We're looking for the hair color when you're around 10 to 12 years old. Okay? And then the eye color. Why do we spend so much time emphasizing this? Because this is what creates the unique algorithm for that client. Everything in this program is math. Math is the language. It's the language for everything. When we mess this up here, when we don't fill in a field, and we've been looking at some of your data fields in the past, and we'll go down and there's no phone number, or there's no email, or there's no birth date. It's absolutely critical to create appropriate and correct algorithms for the person. And it's designed so there is absolutely only one chance in 3 trillion that there could be 2 of the same algorithms. So it's identical, which means you could scan somebody in your office in Aruba, and you could send that file over to Karen Jenkins in Idaho Falls, and she could then scan that person, and they would be identical reports. If you've ever had a blood test done from one lab and another lab, you're going to see inconsistencies between those 2 reports because different equipment, different reagents, the way they've taken care of the reagents. Same with x-rays and MRIs. You can have an MRI done at one imaging lab and 2 hours later go to another imaging lab, and you will have inconsistencies in those reports. By doing what we've done here, you literally can go from one AO scan to another AO scan, and the results will be the same. Okay, so that's why it's important. All right, now let's say that you didn't delete somebody and you entered them in again, and there's going to be two records for that person in there. And that's going to cause a real problem inside the software. So if you make a mistake, you delete it and you start over, and you make sure you don't have a duplicate in there. Let's say somebody goes in, and when they started, they weighed 150 pounds. 5 months later, they weigh 130. And they come in and say, I want to change my profile. You can't change your profile. Whatever it was when it was sent in is the one you have to do. Now, if for some reason you're going to delete somebody, you must delete not only this information here, but you must go into client files and delete every one of their files as well. Does that make sense? Okay, if we hammered that in enough, that report has to be done the way that we've described it, okay? Once you've entered in your client, go ahead and hit save. You've got the person in. Let's go to administration. Now, almost everybody here has their own business. This is to where all your reports can become completely personalized. Otherwise, they'll default to AOScan. And if you don't want that, we need you to enter in your logo here. So if your logo is on your computer, when you enter in that field, it'll come up, find where your logo is, double click on it, and we'll put it there. And then that way, all your reports will have your logo on it. Your company name, your company contact person, and your company phone number, those really should be something other than your personal cell phone. That should be where you want them to call. These next three, company email text, and password. These are essential if you want to be able to do a one-push email the reports. And they have to be done in an exact process, which we have another video on that you can go online today and watch it. And it explains how you set up this special Gmail account. This Gmail account is not a reply. They can't reply back to you from that, to that email. This is only for you to be able to send out their reports. The company email text, whatever you want in that body of email that goes out to your people with their reports. Thank you for coming and visiting us today. Attached are your reports. And you could even put a coupon in there for your next visit, or a special promotion for a product that you're selling. That is what you can personalize in that email that goes out with their reports. So if it's going to be something other than a couple lines, type it up in Word, copy, and then paste it into that field. Okay? All right. This sets you up to where all of your information going out from your office is personalized to your business. Once that's in and correct, hit save. Select technician. Many of you have multiple technicians in your office. It's important to know who's doing the reports with the individual. So what you would do is you just type in their name in this box up here, and then add technician. Whatever is highlighted will list up on top in blue. So whoever the technician is that's going to be operating that day, just click on whoever it's going to be. Just like Alan has shown you, it's real easy to delete as well as to add. Okay? It must have a technician in there, otherwise the system gets screwed up. All right, let's go to language real quick. Right now, English is fully operational. Chinese and Spanish are close to being ready and should be ready by August, September. Portuguese and German probably a month after that. When you click on that language and you hit back, everything will still be in English or whatever the language was until you go to the next screen. Then everything is in that new language. Okay, let's go to back. Once you've set these things up here, it's really easy. Now let's say you're bringing a client back, someone's coming in, it's the second time, third time. Click select client. There's two ways to get into their file. If you know who it is, you type in the first four letters of the last name up in the top box, making sure it's capitalized, and hit select client. Okay, so Swenson's not in there right now, and then the other way is to go down directory, down at where it says search string, type in directory, the whole word, and hit enter. And there's everybody that's in your database. And you click on who you need. Let's go ahead and click on somebody. All right, now we go to programs. Now before we go into the programs, let me explain. There's 8 programs up here, 5 of which are active now. Inner Voice, Vital Scan, Comprehensive, Cephi, and AO Body. The ones over here, Dental, My MindSync, and Veterinarian are in production right now. Dental, that program will be almost as big and comprehensive as the comprehensive program is right now. It's a very, very detailed program. My Mind Sync is something we'll put a video out on. It is something that will rock your world when it comes to what you can do with a client's own voice playing back into their head. Veterinarian will be able to handle initially cats, dogs, and horses. Those are add-on modules. If you want them there, they will come at additional price. If you don't want them, you don't need to add them, but they're ready to go into the program. The other thing that we've done in this version, which doesn't affect you guys, is Inner Voice, Vital Scan, Comprehensive, and Cephi are now also independent programs. So let's say somebody wants the vitals, but they don't need the rest of the thing. Their practice, they're not going to do. We actually have a doctor that never uses anything other than vitals. That is now something they could buy and purchase just vitals. Same with Inner Voice, same with Comprehensive, and same with Cephi. And you'll see information coming out in the emails explaining that and on the website. All right, let's click on Inner Voice. It's the top one, and we've got it now in a systematic order. So this is the new Inner Voice. Simple and easy to use and understand. All you have to do with Inner Voice, do we have a microphone hooked up here? Down on the bottom, start, record, accept, note, chart, and close. You hand that to your client. Now, the first thing you do, you need to prep your client to start the program. The best thing to do is have them think about the things that maybe trouble them, give them some heartache. Also, some of the things that make them feel good. Have them think about these things. Make sure they're calm and they're collected. They've had a glass of water, cup of tea, something where they're mellowed down. Then you hand them the microphone and you say to them, just talk to me about who you are, how many children you have, where you went to school, where you grew up. It doesn't matter what they say. We just want them to talk from their heart. Not about the things they were thinking about. Just talk. Once they start talking, hit start record. And as it's going, it will record 20 seconds of that voice. That's all it needs. And when it gets to the 20 seconds, it will stop the program and formulate the report. Nothing difficult about this program anymore or complicated. So at 20 seconds it will stop. It takes about 2 seconds to create the report. There's your report. Now what the program is looking for in Inner Voice is the 3 zones of your voice that are overcompensating. We're way high. And then we're looking for the one that's suppressed, way low. Click on accept. Now, before you do that, let's say that this person that you were recording was really shy and really quiet. That's not going to be a good record. So let's do it again. Don't be shy. You can speak up. If someone's stumbling, I don't know what to say, this is too hard. Help them get through this, because what we need is a voice from the heart. But once you've got that and you're comfortable that that was from their heart, click accept. It'll bring up the report on the screen, but what actually goes out to them, click on reports. Is this report. It tells them which zones. Now your voice, we separate the voice into 12 zones. It tells them a few things. The color that would be best for them to deal with this particular issue in their life, red. The areas of the body that are being affected by this emotion. The emotional concept that they're having to struggle with. And then a little couple paragraphs of the things that are happening in their life. And you will be absolutely amazed at how accurate this is. So the first 3, scroll down, are the ones that are being overcompensated for. And the last one will be the one that is being suppressed. Okay? And if you've got your logo in there, your logo would be at the top of that report. All right, we can close that out. So that's the report that will go out when you email it. But there's 2 other things that go out with that email. How many of you are familiar with the program Cellular Attunement in your system? There's 12 zones. Each zone has a specific 5-minute audio track that they listen to that helps deal with those emotions. They just listen. Then there's also the note, C sharp, D, etc. That note has been recorded into an MP3 format with the right amount of wobble and frequency to when they listen to that, that also helps relieve that emotional issue. So there's 4 audio tracks that are 5 minutes long and 4 audio tracks that are 2 minutes long that are automatically attached to that report. And so when it ends up in their email box, they don't have to go open it up. You don't have to record it onto a thumb drive. It's all there. They just have to click on it, put on some headphones and listen. Simple, straightforward. You don't have to go mix anything, blend anything. It's all done. Open the email, click on the audio, and there it is. You like that idea, that change on Inner Voice? Okay. All right, so we're all done. We click back. And then we close out of Inner Voice. The next thing is Vital Scan, because this is kind of the system we'd like you to get into doing. The biggest thing in Vitals, we've completely reformatted the way the information is displayed on the Vitals. No more numbers 1 to 9 that were really confusing. Simple, very similar to what you would see if you went and had a blood test done. Normal or low, normal, high. And you're just in that range. We don't put a number in there that's confusing. We don't put any other information as well. Does that mean I'm high, or does that mean I'm low, or does it mean I don't have enough? It's just you're in the normal range, you're low or you're high. We've broken them up into 7 different reports. On the back of every report, look at go to Blood 2. That's the back page of the blood report, is the disclaimer. Okay, and that's on every single report is the disclaimer. For those of you who, this is kind of hard to read all the detail here. We have these reports here that you can read when we're done with the presentation. And those of you who are online, you'll be able to go online this afternoon and see these reports in full size. Chakras, we changed. The chakra, it's easier to see. Now, we have a lot of people that are uncomfortable with the chakra report and the meridian report. They're not familiar with Eastern medicine, and so those are reports they don't really like. You don't have to send those. But go on the back of page, we give you an explanation of how each chakra, when it's out of range, what it affects in the body, and a description and a disclaimer. We do the same on the meridians. Kind of take some of the mystery out of what is a meridian line and what it is. There's all the information on the back of the report. So it just kind of bridges that gap of education or lack of. Then you've got your nutritional analysis page, and it's got 3 pages. You can click through those. And as, like on the last report, the last version of the reports, you have the previous scan and the current scan. So when you scan them the first time, you immediately do the frequency optimization. It moves that scan over to the right and gives you the new information. So you're always able to look at the previous and the current. Okay. Functionality, 6 reports, 6 pages. That's what a report is a page. And then toxicities, which is the biggest one, has 7 reports. And all that there. And then on the back page of 7, it will also be the disclaimer again. Vitals takes about 37 seconds to do the first vital scan. Then you do your frequency optimization, which takes 2 minutes. And when that's done, it will print this report that shows both front and back, previous and normal. When you're done with that, email report. It sends those reports out. You don't have to go find them. You don't have to attach them. It's just done. You see why it's important that they have an email? Before they even leave your office, if they've got a smartphone, those reports are right there on your phone. When we demonstrated this at the last convention, you're watching people going around looking at their phone and scrolling through the reports. It is powerful. To have those reports in their hands is just amazing. Okay, so you can spend time with your clients on this. I wouldn't. I would move on because this is something they go home, and it also makes it to where it's real easy for you to go from educational to diagnostic, and that's not what we're supposed to be doing. Okay. All right. So from here you hit back, and you go to comprehensive. Now there have been a few more categories added to the comprehensive. There will be more that will be added in the months ahead. Some of the graphics that we have, some of the ones that were already there, have been upgraded graphics, so it's a little easier to see and a little easier on the eyes. But here's this is probably my most favorite thing of the whole scan. How many of you, when you get to this page, are going, okay, what do we check? Is that a big thing? Okay, I don't know where to go. I don't know where to start. Well, maybe I'll look at the digestion. I'll look at the brain. When we did the inner voice, that 20 seconds of inner voice, we found a whole lot of issues physically that are potentially out of range. When you did your vitals, you went through 550 different things in the body. For sure there's going to be things out of range there. This button right down here, Intelligent Scan Selection, reviews those two reports, inner voice and vitals, and when you click it, it loads them in. And it will load up to 30. No more guesswork. Those are where you need to start. Now the beauty of this, now this has already been done, so you're seeing numbers on there. Normally they would be loaded in just black if it was their first scan. They change as we scan. But let's say that you know this client, you know their situation. I really don't need to look at nerves of the head. You can double click it. Or you take them all out. Or you say, oh, you know what, we also need to look at digestive, or we need to look at spine. You can add to that or take away from it. Or don't even put it in at all and just build your own. That is my favorite thing. Because now you can just go bang, 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 bang. And you could literally have just a technician run your reports and run your scans, and at the end go through the reports with your client. Like Deborah Bruce is doing that in her facility in Denver. She has 3 technicians, and all she does is review the reports of each. She's getting 3 people done in the time it would normally have taken her to do 1. Okay, so once you've got whether you went with intelligent scan or you build your own scan or you modify the scan, as soon as those are in, you click on scan, which we won't do for this presentation. You know how the scan works. It will go through each one of those systematically, top to bottom. And like I said, if you're doing the intelligent scan or you build your own, the most fields that can be in there are 30. Okay, you can put in less, but it'll do 30 at one pass. Once that's done, you've scanned them all, you click on database. This is where Deborah Bruce has really helped us. She's been doing these types of scans with our equipment and other equipment over the last, 11 years, 12 years. And she came in and says, you know, we need this and this and this and this and this. We need to be able to compare these and these and these. And so with her help and Amber's skills, we were able to put this together. You now have 18 databases. Those of you who've been doing this for a while and you've scanned somebody and it comes up and says they've got gonorrhea or syphilis. It's a very uncomfortable situation at that moment in time with your client, because 99% of the time that isn't what they have. But somebody in their genetic past did. And that's what we find in miasms. This is going to take all those uncomfortable things away, because it actually tells you and shows you where these things are affecting your body and how they're affecting your body. So once you, if you look up at the top, you could select everything in that category and everything in the databases and just hit analyze and let it go. Or If you don't need all that information, you're really trying to tune down to just one or two things, just select what you want and the databases you want to check. Again, we've made it automated, but still modifiable. Simple to work with. Okay. Once you've done your database, now let me explain a couple things here. Database, if you've got 30 items in there, is going to take 28 minutes. 28 minutes of your time for it to analyze each of those categories to each of these databases. 55 seconds per category for the 18 databases. A lot of time. I don't know who it was yesterday. It was here with us. Oh, Eddie. It was Eddie. Came in and says, Lauren, he says, that's not a bad deal at all. You've got exactly 28 minutes of inner voice audio that they could be listening to while it's doing the database. You could literally just set that headphone on and play the audio and let those, so they're now getting the therapy as at the same time the database is being analyzed. So that's Eddie's idea, and I think it's a brilliant suggestion. Okay, so when you're done doing your database, and it's going to go fast, you're not going to have time to review what's going up on the screen. You're going to be able to in a minute, though. All right, go back, click Scan List up at the top, and it will load everything in that we've scanned and analyzed, and you hit your frequency optimization. And now the optimization will go through, and it will take about 12 minutes. Okay? Now, when that's all done, you go back to database, go to reports, and it will put up 3 reports. Now, this is something you've never had before. All that information that you've gleaned and don't know what to do with, it actually tells you arteries of the head. Number 1 issue is the pathology of the mel, dyscirculation. It's a low cause, it's 95%, it's been there for 5 years. Now, in this afternoon's meeting, Deborah's going to help you understand what some of this means. And believe me, it's not really complicated. And it's color-coded again. The worst, middle range, and then the least to worry about. So in the afternoon session, we'll go through some of this here and how to connect the dots. You have 3 reports. It's all the same information, but displayed differently. And this is not necessarily what you want to print out and give to your client because it's overwhelming. And I'll go through what you're going to do on that in a second. But so you look at it in categories. Allergens, here's what's affected. Or you look in comprehensive. It goes through the comprehensive things. And you have a database summary. And the only thing it'll show you is emotions and then the number of hits in each category. So you've got all this information that you can work with. All right, so you close that out, and here's where it really, just right over here, Alan, at the top. Edit reports. So now you can go in and click on comprehensive, loads the comprehensive. Now you notice there's no color in there. But you can go in here and you can edit this. You can copy and delete, highlight and delete. Then you can go down and you can open a file if there's things you've been doing on Google or you've got some recommendations, some supplements or whatever you feel will be helpful. You can add those into this report. And when you're all done, you hit Save File. And that would be the report that you send out to your people. So we've tried to make it as simple for you as possible and streamlined as possible. Okay? Now, start to finish. Eddie has a client come in, sits down, a little bit of chit-chat, get everything calm, bring up the client's information or enter it if it's the first time, put the headset on. Hand him the microphone and do inner voice. Finish with inner voice, send the report. Then you go in and you click vitals. You do the vital scan. You do the frequency optimization. You email the report. Then you go to comprehensive, intelligent scan, Hit scan, let it do its scan. When it's all done doing the scan, go to database. Select all, analyze. When that's all done, go back, frequency optimization. When optimization is done, go back to database, click on reports, edit your reports, send them out. Approximately 62 minutes. All that in just that amount of time. Now let's say it's another visit. Somebody comes in and it's mostly emotional issues they're dealing with. You don't need to do all this. Just go in and say, let's just do an inner voice. Do the inner voice, capture the information, let them listen to their tones. 30 minutes, they've had a full therapy, they've got the inner voice, you email out the report, and out they go. Or it's somebody it's a nutritional issue, it's metabolism or something. You can go in and instead of doing inner voice, just do vitals. And if you want to take it to the next level and see what's happening on the comprehensive, you can just go straight from inner voice to comprehensive, comprehensive and hit intelligence scan. It'll only pull up the things that they need to see based on the emotion. See the flexibility that you have? All of that you have right at your fingertips, simple, fast. This is literally something that you can learn in 20 minutes. Understanding the reports, that's another story. But as far as operating the system, taking an individual from the beginning through the system is really simple. Okay? All right. Let's go ahead and turn back on the lights. Thank you, Alan. By raise a hand, how much easier is this going to make your practice? Okay. Like the changes? Did we meet some expectations? Because that's what we've been trying to do. Okay, so I'd like Alan to come up for a few minutes and explain the process in getting you upgraded from what you have to this. The software's there, it's functional, but the cradle that you have needs to be reflashed. And it's just, it doesn't take a long time. It just has to come in, we have to flash it, and then you'll be able to download your program. So Alan, and when Alan's finished, we're going to turn some time over to Deborah Bruce, and she's going to just kind of give you some ideas on how the databases will function. It will not be a question and answer time there. It'll be more just information. And then in the afternoon session, she'll actually do some instruction. Okay?
Hi, everybody. Some of you have been with us for a long time. Some of you have been with us just for the last couple months. One of the things I want you to get your arms around is the fact that we have, a couple hundred clients, and all of you will need to be updated. We've been running pretty much as fast as we could for the last year, and faster than we could for the last 6 months. And so we just, we're just taking a breath now and say, okay, now that we have this, how's the most efficient way to get this out to all of you? The cradle that you have has 2 circuit boards in it. Each of those, you can correct me if I'm wrong, has 512 different locations where we store information. And that information is all encrypted. And so we have to go about this in a very forthright, systematic fashion so that we don't send something out to you that we've then updated your computer and it doesn't work. What we would like to do is what I think I would like to do is to send you a cradle in the mail when you already have your cradle. This is the problem with that. What we're sending you is the most expensive part of the system. We value it at around $27,000. because basically what it is the right for you to use this program and the amortization of all the millions of dollars that have been put into this program since we started. Many of you were involved with a period of time where you would receive a thumb drive in the mail, and you would put it in, and there was a letter in there saying, don't rip off the tag of this mattress, or the mattress place will be your house. We want you to return that, because we got to the point where this program was so large that we needed to use very fast USBs, and they were certainly more expensive, and it was costing us about $75 to $100 to do an update from one version to the next. And we said, return this or we're going to hunt you down. And even after all that, only about a third of you actually returned them. So those of you that did, you're among the elite. So now we have a situation where we are going to send you out something that's worth $27,000, and we're going to basically cross our fingers to make sure it's returned. You understand that when we send those out, we're going to want to have tracking on those and watch them every step of the way, and tracking every step of the way back. We don't want to be in a situation where, you tell us, I never got it, or whatever happened, because they are. And so I'm specifically looking at the process of how we will do this. Anybody that's local, and that's going to be easy, because we can have you come in and we can switch that and we can do things, etc. But those of you that are in Arizona or Aruba or Montana or New Mexico or Salt Lake, California, Augustine, we will want to basically be able to send it. And so the process basically is, the little black dot that you see on your cradle. When we remove that black dot, that gives us a port where we're able to basically reprogram the flat, we're able to, I don't know exactly what you call it, Amber. We're going to reflash it. Now, one thing I want you to also understand is that we used to have one license file, and then on your computer we would put one monthly code or a final code. Because we've separated these programs, we've gone 800%. We have now 8 possible licenses that can go on that. So you could have a separate InnerVoice program or a separate everything. And as I've worked with some of you, I know that some of you will say, well, I would love to have a place in my office where I have a technician that just does InnerVoice, to have that capability. But your only choice up to this point was to basically say, is to pay $28,500, or what will now be since June 1st has been $30,500 for the basic system. Now you'll be able to pay, we'll talk about this later, about $7,900 and have a complete business just doing InnerVoice. Or like we talked about this doctor in Florida that has multiple machines, I believe six at last count. He can just buy vitals and just have that capability, or comprehensive, or any part you want. And I think this is going to give us much more flexibility, going forward. But it is significantly more complex, especially for any of you that are making monthly payments. That means every month. How many of you have been able to successfully put your monthly code in? Okay. You're now going to be putting in 5 monthly codes. And so, so we just want to spend some time and make sure that we have the process down. So what I'm saying is that we can probably get most of this done over the next 2 weeks. We'll start, Monday, Tuesday, doing all the people that we can do locally to make sure that our process works, and then we'll start sending out the cradles. Does anybody have any questions? Okay. I'll get right back to you on that, Dr. Gunn. So I just want you to realize that we want one thing that we don't ever want to have happen. We don't ever want to hear that you have a waiting room full of patients and a whole week booked ahead, and there's something that's not working exactly the way it's supposed to. And so I just ask you to give us a little bit of, patience over the next couple of days as we finalize how this is going to go out, and then I will be contacting you. We'll be making an appointment for each of you. Okay, thank you very much. No place to hang anything on it. I mean, an Eagle Scout.
Watch it, bud.
I know, my hands are.
Okay. So I just want to say thank you online and here, everybody being here. We're really, really, really grateful that you're here. You're why we're doing what we're doing, and worked really hard over the last year and a half. There we go. So thank you so much for being here, and we've worked really, really hard because of you. We want you to have the best system in the world for treating your clients, your patients, and to really feel like you're helping them. If you have a passion for finding causes, that's what this is all about. This entire database was redesigned basically to help you get to the root of things, to find causes. I actually kind of switched in my mind what I was going to talk about. I wanted to just show you some of the value that we've found to this new program, Chelsea and I and my other two techs. And so I kind of listed just a few general areas. One of them, the first one, was the client or patient. Just a few things that we've seen is they're tired of the current medical model. They're just really tired, but they don't know what to do. They don't know where to go. They want to be able to take back some control of their own health and feel like they're making progress other than getting just another prescription. And so that was the basis for this, was to find a way to help them. And we've really, really seen it, especially with this new format. When it first switched over to the program that Lorna developed with Amber, I looked at it and I was like, we got to organize this, because if we don't organize it, how is everybody going to use it? It's too confusing. And if we're confused using it, how's the patient or client going to benefit? So what we've seen with them is that they are able to connect the dots with this new program. And you start to see their pupils dilate when the first one I put, a big one that we're seeing, is that they see they have food sensitivities. And then at the bottom, they see that they have phenolics that are aggravating their system. And they start to connect that they've got leaky gut. And then they realize the food particles are getting into their bloodstream, and that they have the need for this and for that, and to heal this and heal that, and that their brain barrier is being compromised, that a whole host of their problems is connected to their gut. Then they got to make the big leap that, oh, shoot, it says gluten, dairy, sugar, corn, and they start realizing they have to take responsibility. They have to do something. And that's so valuable. Another thing that we saw is when they look at the parts of the body, they start making the connection that when the vertebra PDF is out of whack and it's showing the parts of the body being affected, they start to realize that working with the different modalities such as acupuncture, chiropractic, massage, cranial sacral, that it actually isn't just for when you hurt, that you want to do maintenance, you want to go regularly, you want to keep the communication going. It's good when the body doesn't because there's no connection. So we don't talk a lot of technicality in our office. We use a lot of down-to-earth illustrations, but they really appreciate it. The third one was we work on a lot of people with cancer. And when you work on this program with them and they start seeing, oh my gosh, the emotions are one of my main causes, and I have heavy metals and mold and fungus, and why haven't I been told this? And they start to take responsibility for that too and make changes and see an improvement even with serious situations like that. It's invaluable. Fourth, the emotional impact of this program. A lot of people don't think emotions have that big of an effect on their body. And when those emotions are listed and it shows where it's affecting and the percentage, first you see them say, well, that's not me, well, that's not me. And then a few minutes later they're going, no, shoot, you know. And then they say, well, that's my boss, that's my employee, that's my child, that's my husband, that's me. And so they start to take responsibility for that too. And if you can explain to them, like Candace Pert's work about neuropeptides being released, attaching to docking sites, bringing down the function of their organs, takes on a whole new meaning. And so does the inner voice. The second thing that I see with them is they start taking not only responsibility for their lifestyle changes, but that with this program, if you found nothing but repetitively when it says hydration and told them to drink more water, they go home, their health gets better. Simple things. You can start with simple things, and then you gain their trust and they see results and they're wanting to come back. The second area is professionals, their primary caregivers that they see. How many of you have people that see you, but they're seeing 9 other people, bunches of other people? There's a real value to this, even being their support team. We had a dentist who, the client that I had, insisted that he look under a crown that had no evidence of any problem because it repeatedly had a critical reading. So he finally just arrogantly was really upset with her, took it off, and he was like, it was full of infection underneath. Now he's asking us for PDFs. We had an oncologist who, if you talk to Chelsea, she's up at the back there, have an oncologist who recently told one of our clients, I don't know what you are doing, make sure you keep doing it. I have never seen a completely impacted with cancer spleen decrease 4 centimeters in a week. We had a Lyme specialist that is now requesting reports for the whole family that we have that has Lyme, because he said that when she brought in the reports, after he did the blood work, the vitals reports were so much more accurate, it was more valuable to him than his blood tests. We have chiropractors that are asking us for PDFs. They're tracking their patient's progress. And we have a cranial sacral person who is requesting arteries of the brain and veins of the brain because she's tracking the progress that she's making with them as well. And that's just the start. We're seeing it all the time. So it's really gratifying. For you personally, there is no end to what you can do with this now. As far as the databases and vitals and the emotion, there's no end to it. I've been racking my brain over this for 1.5 years, and every day I'm discovering things in it. It's like, oh my gosh, that connects with that. I can go into that with you later, but it just starts connecting the dots. You almost feel like you've got an AI form there that's artificial intelligence, because it's just so amazing what you can do with it. I don't know if any of you have ever, even in the field of health, gotten up one morning and said, if I have to do this one more time, I'm going to shoot myself, because you've reached a dead end, or you've gotten where you just don't feel that passion that you had. Well, if you have a passion for causes, for connecting the dots, for seeing your clients' eyes dilate, for seeing them take responsibility and make personal changes, this is going to do it for you. And it's only going to get better. It's only going to get better. Financially, everybody's always interested in that. When you have doctors asking for PDFs, and you have clients seeing results from their lifestyle changes and working with their other caregivers, the phone doesn't stop. They just talk and talk. Their friends, their family, they're dragging their husbands in, making their kids come, getting remote units for people across the country. We're booked until, we're booking October now. So that's gonna be a very good area for you as well. So we can talk later about some of the connecting the dots, and I've learned a lot in the last couple of years. I learned something every day. I'll learn something from all of you, but I know that you won't be disappointed and that you'll really, really benefit from having this system.
Okay, so We've touched on the program. You've seen what we've done. Most of you here are familiar with the previous version, so this is going to be really simple for you to pick up. Have we got someone in here that has never seen this machine before? Anybody? So everybody here's all. That's right. That's because we told everybody had to come with the machine. Okay. Is there anybody here that has not played much with their machine? Amber, you want? Amber eats and sleeps and dreams this machine. I want somebody to come up. You're one of our newest ones, right, Michael? Come on up. I want. Let's just turn off this front set of lights. Yeah, good. Okay. Now I want you to sit right there where Alan is, and I want you to start at the icon and go through this real quick. I want you to see this. We had somebody that I just met over the phone a few days ago, and we let her get onto this through AnyDesk or the remote sharing, screen sharing, and we just let her take over the mouse, and she went through this whole program with just a few little bits of guidance. This was confirmation to us that we had something that was intuitive enough that somebody could literally sit down and work the machine. Okay, we don't need to go through and enter in everything right now. I just start from fresh and just kind of simulate going through a whole program and see if it is intuitive to you with each screen. Again, while they're filling this out, I want you to just, again in your mind, no empty fields. None. Okay? All of these fields create two very unique and special numbers, and then those two numbers are combined to make your unique algorithm. And so you miss a field, you do something wrong in a field, you give us bad information. Remember the old phrase, garbage in, garbage out. It's the same thing here. If you want accuracy, it has to be the same. One thing that some of you are going to do, and we're going to tell you all, when you get your upgrade this week, erase everything and re-enter every one of your clients new into this system. Now, there will be a little bit of confusion because your new scans on this system will look a little bit different from your last scans on the old version, but you will see they're all trending exactly the same. As that system, and it generally takes 3 scans for this system to get to know your client. You talked with me earlier this morning about someone that had 2 files in there, and they started scanning one from the other, and they were different. The reason is it doesn't see your name. It only sees your algorithmic number. And so when it sees that number, it takes 3 times for the machine to know how your system, for the system to learn you. And so when you go back and forth, it's literally relearning that person over and over and over and over. So put it in one time only. Okay. You got it in? Okay. Now he's going through this. This is the first time he's played with this because we just got this version of it in this form yesterday. Now, Deborah and a few other people have been doing beta testing on the different modules. So we know the modules are working, and we've debugged, we think, pretty much everything. But when you get this system, if you find that there's an anomaly, you just let us know so that we can get that corrected. There will probably be a few bugs that come up from here going out. Okay? And we're done. We got the 20 seconds. Hit accept. Okay, just for fun, let's stop here for a second. Go ahead and hit accept, go back, and then go into comprehensive and do intelligent selection. I just wanted to show you that this is just what it picked up from his voice right there. See, so what came up from just the voice are about 8 items. So you could focus right there on just the emotional stuff. Isn't that amazing? Okay, so like I said, you don't have to do everything to do the intelligence scan. If all your focus of your practice is inner voice, then all you have to do is that intelligence scan, and there you are, and off the races you go. The same if you're vitals. You're not going to do the inner voice. You can just do vitals and do the intelligence scan, and it will bring up the issues from just the vitals. Okay? Let's go back to vitals, and we'll do a vital scan. And if you notice down in the bottom corner, the client, and right below the client is the technician. As it goes through this scan, it'll list each report as it's going through there. It's set up to go through live. So even at just a glance, you know right where it is in the scan, and you'll look down here at the bottom, we're 32 seconds. I've had people actually look at that and say, is that my body? And I'll say, I wish. How many of you had, or raise a hand, had people look at, how are you seeing my heart? Or isn't that amazing though? Because they're thinking, and this whole thing, because we don't treat, we don't diagnose, we educate. We educate how the body functions. We educate how the body is connected. Now, it's a very, very thin line, and I think most of us probably cross that line 2 or 3 times every session. But keep in mind, you are educating. When someone says, is that my body? Is that my heart? They're now thinking where they need to be thinking, because everything happens in here. So when we get them thinking about their body, about their organs, about their diet, about their emotions, they're the ones doing the healing. Not the machine, not the supplements, their body. Okay? All right, so, no, let's just go straight to, this will take a couple minutes. Comprehensive. Now hit intelligence scan. You see the difference? All the other things were there, but then it added the stuff from vitals. What a way to start. Now, those of you who've been doing this for a long time and are doctors, you may understand a lot of the physiology already and know where to go. But for the most part, your technicians don't. To be able to hit that button and go from there, you're off to the races. You're ahead of the game. And then you can focus where you need to focus your expertise with the client for 5 or 10 minutes, going through the things that came up from this, helping them understand how to change their emotions. And one of the biggest emotions, the most important emotion we've got to get people to understand is forgiveness, right? First, they got to be able to forgive themselves. The second one is to be able to forgive those that they feel that have offended them. And if you don't believe that emotions have anything to do with health, go to a cancer ward and talk to those people. Oh, I hate that SOB, or I will never forgive that SOB, or my son did this, or my spouse. Go listen to these people that are dying, and you will be able to bring that right down to a very real and a very serious emotional disconnect. Okay. What do you think, Michael? How simple is that? Now, for those of you who are here, you get to play with this today, this afternoon, and you're also going to get to play with the virtual reality system. And now, I will tell you right up front, not everybody's going to be blown away with virtual reality. They say that only that there's 5% of the public that don't get virtual reality, can't appreciate it, don't like it. But for the rest of the 95 of us that are normal, my business partner is in that 5%, so that was all for Tim. The virtual reality takes it to a whole nother realm of believability and acceptability. And BG and Gary and Beth, they're the ones that you got those reports emailed to you before about virtual reality and how it's being used in the medical field. They can tell you that when people can get into that frame of mind, the healing is accelerated. So virtual reality is going to be a lot of fun, and I think we're going to have, 3 machines set up? 3 machines, so you can kind of play around with the virtual reality. We will have, for those of you who are online, we'll have some video showing you what it looks like in the virtual field, but you know, obviously you're not going to be seeing it in that 3-dimensional realm. Okay, I think we've covered this. I'll just take 2 or 3 questions real quick. Deanna, did you have a quick question? Okay, this is good. She asked about, he entered in the state, but he only put the U and the T in capitals. Now the thing is, it really should be, and that's good she paid attention, it really should be capital U, T, A, H. Now, Amber, does that, if they abbreviate the state, is that an issue, or? Can you come up for just a second? We'll do this. What he's explaining is, well, I'll let him explain.
So everything that you enter into those items up there go into generating the numbers. So if you change anything, that number will change, and that's a problem because it keeps track of who you are by the number it generates. So if you do want to change something there, just keep that in mind. It'll create a new client. So most of the time you wouldn't want to do that. And as far as the results go, I don't think UT or UTH is going to make any difference.
Okay. What we have found is whatever you do with one client should be exactly the same through your entire database. Don't have some with abbreviated states and some with spelled out states. They're either all abbreviated or they're all spelled out. Does that make sense? Can you hear me? So that it's consistent. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
You can see that where I just made that one change from Utah, it created a new client data file. And you can actually put that, and you see the. Let's talk just for a second about client data files into the new program, because some of you will be doing that, and it'll be a little bit different than what we've had in the past. In the past, when you came here under AO Scan, you had a client data file. That's the old program. This is the new program, and under comprehensive is where we have that client data file. Here's the first one we did, and you can kind of look at the time when we started that. And here's all the information, all the different reports and information that we did on Mike Murdoch is saved in this client data file. When I went back and changed just that UT to Utah, it created another client data file. And of course, I don't have anything in that yet. And so you can see that's where it would be. And so if I was going to go forward with the new one that I've changed, I would say, well, I'm going to go back and I'm going to delete that information so that I can clean that up. Getting rid of a client data file is just a matter of doing a right click and getting and removing that from the program.
Okay, so right now, no, it will print out, it will send all 7 reports, but we will work on that on a future update to where you can just pick and choose. And the ones that they don't want are chakra and meridian, which is interesting. But you have the ability to send what you want, or if maybe you just want to do a blood report. There's a reason that we should be able to do that. Okay, thanks. Optimized. Okay, this is a good question. The question, I'll just repeat. She had a client that did a scan, did the optimization, and the results actually came back that she was worse. And that happens. Or you'll see in a comprehensive where number will go from a 5 to a 6, or where it actually got worse. Hertzheimer reaction. You know what a Hertzheimer reaction is, correct? It's a healing crisis. I'll give you an example in really easy terms. If you take niacin, a niacin pill, you're going to have a flush. You're going to burn, itch, scratch, and feel nauseous, okay? But after about an hour, that passes and everything feels fine and you're actually better. But if I was to take a blood test and take a look at your liver enzymes went right through the charts. And that's what doctors will say, oh, don't take too much niacin because it elevates your liver enzymes, which is only half the truth. Because as soon as the flush goes down and everything goes back, your liver enzymes not only go back to normal, but actually go back a little better. A healing crisis is when the body is going through. And so in this case, most likely, if the numbers got worse, it's because there was a healing crisis going on. You give it another day or two and recheck, and you'll generally see those numbers not only went back, but went back better. So healing crisis, same thing, you eat too much, feel lousy, you go home, it passes. But during a healing crisis, that's almost always what that is.
You'll also see it in the comprehensive where it's a perfect 5, and after you do the optimization, it'll drop and it's weaker. And a lot of times that's a really good indicator to you that that area needs support.
There you go. Okay, one more question and then we're going to break. Any other questions? Yes.
To pick those different reports. Thank you. Are we still going to be able to pick out those reports? Say there's something that goes on with the email, they put in the wrong email. I ran into that this last week when I did 34 scans at a convention, and people had put in the wrong thing and they couldn't get it. And I'm sending these reports out and they're not getting them, and then it's done. So is there a way to redo?
Yes. In fact, Alan, can you bring up client reports? Every single scan you do or have ever done, is saved in the client data file. So if you go back here, they're all there. So if you mailed them out and it didn't go to the right email address, they're right there in the folder. When he opens it up, it goes to one that's got some scans. See, there's all my scans that are in that file. They're all there. You don't lose your files. The only way you lose those files is if you go in and actually delete that individual's client file. So if someone calls up and says, "Oh, I must have given you the wrong email address. I didn't get my reports," you can go back and get them right in there. Okay? One more question.
When we get the new program, will it erase our data files or just the program?
I would really recommend that you erase everything and load everybody in new. That way there's no cross-contamination from the two platforms. The database or the upgrades going forward are not going to have that issue. And you may not have an issue with this now, but that's just one way to eliminate a possible one. Okay? All right. Thank you so much for coming. I hope this was helpful. And we're going to try and get you upgraded as quickly and as systematically as we can. And so we're going to say goodbye to those who have joined us online. And the rest of us are going to sit here and have some food and play with toys. So thank you so much.